Good morning, West End. I am standing in front of you without a mask on for the first time in about 2 years. Amen. I was able to put on lipstick. Little small things you miss. Amen. I am excited to be in front of you this morning. And like I said, I know the time change may have thrown some of us off. I know I could have used that hour that we lost. But I do want to continue in the spirit of joy that Reverend Ann brought us last week. It didn't matter that I wasn't here in the sanctuary. I felt it through the screen. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, though, right? We know that me standing here does not mean that pandemic is over, or that we might not have to reverse course at some point. But we are here now, together. And we have to admit that we have been changed. We will not be going back to where we were. Our past cannot hold more weight than our future. But it is Women's History Month, or as my friend James insisted I say, Women's Herstory Month. One of the things that I learned when I was in grad school and I was studying different forms of criticism was that there's a particular way of speaking. There are specific phrases that were invented by women or coined by women that are only used or used to only be used by women. One of those phrases is, I found myself. Like I found myself walking, or I found myself thinking. I found myself in the presence of. This particular phrase kind of speaks to the double consciousness that women have to have in this society. Being aware that you are aware of yourself. There are so many ways that language is gendered. Mankind, firemen, businessmen, even kingdom. Part of the stuff that we dig into when we're studying the Bible is trying to understand where that gendered language comes from, what it stems from, and we know that it was a different time, and we know that now women are capable. But this morning, this subject matter, being patient, I found myself struggling with this. I've been honest with you before about my struggles with some texts, especially things like divorce and sin and hell. I've even preached on my disagreements about some of that. But I gotta tell you, my personal struggles with impatience hampered my ability to preach this morning. Please bear with me. I am impatient. People who know me well know that. The psalm that you heard was a familiar one. We use bits and pieces of it all the time. Wait on the Lord, teach me your ways, be of good courage. Over and over again, telling us to slow down and be patient, but I don't like it. I don't like to be patient. I know I'm not the only one. I get to a restaurant, where's my food? Why is it taking so long? I get on the line at the grocery store, and without fail, the other lines start to go faster than the one that I am on. There is always some problem or some issue with the person in front of me. I never get on the shortest, fastest line. I see people walking slow in front of me on the streets, and I want to run them down. Why won't you move to the side? I am impatient. I have no place super important to go, but if you are in my way, I want to move past you. What is that? I think I'm in good company. Jesus was very often annoyed and in a hurry. In the short passage of Luke that we heard read, I love the way that Jesus talks. He does not mince words. Even when the guys who are usually unfriendly towards him, the Pharisees, they try to warn him and say, hey, you need to leave. Herod is after you. He says, he doesn't say, oh, hey, thanks for the warning. He says, go and tell that fox for me. I'm casting out demons and performing cures. I'm busy. I have work to do. We have heard him say things like that all the time. He has no time very often for niceties. Jesus, especially towards the end of his ministry, is moving quickly. As the book of Mark will tell us, he's moving immediately. He's doing things immediately. That's what I want. I want immediate. I want this pandemic that has the potential to crush all of us to be over immediately. But we know the smart thing to do is to be patient. But how can we be patient when the world is spinning out of control? From disastrous climate change to this horrific, very visual, traumatizing war in the Ukraine. How can we sit and wait on the Lord? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad I'm not the only one, I hope, who chafes at this call to be patient. But I think that there is some help to be found in that 27th Psalm. In particular, I'll call your attention to that 4th verse. One thing I asked of the Lord that I will seek after, to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. Live, behold, inquire. Those are action words. But how can they be connected to patience? The definition of patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering. As I look at this sanctuary, there are many of us here who are in the process of delay, who are in the process of trouble, who are suffering. What does being patient accomplish? What is the word for those of us who want to see the world move, who want to see justice in the world? What can we do? How do we find patience? What does patience accomplish anyway? What do I gain from being patient? What is the benefit of being patient in this world where pulpits in this very city wouldn't even let me preach? There are places that I can go in this city, in this country, where I would not be allowed here, in this very city, where I'd be asked to maybe stand on the floor, or maybe I'd be given a different title, certainly not minister, maybe evangelist or prophetess. How can I be patient when parents are being threatened in our states for affirming their children's identity, that there's a criminalization of parental love to some degree in certain states? How can I be patient when black bodies are still being disproportionately killed and beaten and held by the police and by this incarceration system? Here is what I learned struggling with this text right up until probably 1044. Being patient does not mean inaction. It also means being uncomfortable. It does not mean uselessness. The psalmist tells us to wait on the Lord, yes, but to also live, to behold, and to inquire. Live, do something. Anything, be present in the moment. Be here, now. You don't have to solve all the problems of the world, but we are all called to do something, to do our part, to make this a better place, to leave it in better shape than when we found it, to plant seeds that we may not see bloom, but that will give shelter and sustenance to our children. Behold, to see the world as it is, imperfect, continuously taking one step forward and two steps back. Look at people, see them. Recognize that we are all hurting. Recognize that there are systems in place that continue to hurt people. Racism, sexism, transphobia, homophobia, ableism. These are all things in place that continue to hold us back. Behold them. Even the people that we don't like, that we consider our enemies, behold them. It doesn't mean that you're letting them off the hook. It just means that you're in touch with your empathy and that you recognize that we are all beloved of God, all of us. Flawed, yes, but all of us loved, each and every one of us. Inquire. Whose voice is missing? What is this identity? Whose identity is centered and whose is shunned? Who is profiting off this situation? Where is the money? Where are the resources going? How does more money for this group mean less protection for that group? Let me tell you something, West End. All my life, I have been told how to show up in this world as a woman, to fold myself in. I was told at a very young age how to sit, how to cross my legs, how to stand, how to take up less space in this world, how not to be too loud. I've been told to regulate my face, my voice, modulate my voice, make sure I don't sound too threatening or too aggressive, to be pleasant. We know women are always told to smile, to make sure that we put others at ease. And all my life, everything about me has been at odds with those instructions because we are called, all of us, to take up space, to live, to behold, to inquire. We are also called to take just a moment to breathe, to relax, to see the world for what it is, to rest so that we can continue on in this journey, to fight another day, to detach from the stresses of the world if they are stifling us. So I urge all of you right now, even those who are here sitting, just stop for just a moment and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. To pause, to breathe. Find yourself breathing. The worry will be there when you come back to it. The stress will be there when you turn your attention back to it. Worry and impatience does not rob tomorrow of its sorrow or its activity, but only today of its joy. But for now, we are here in this space together. We can slow down. We can breathe. We can be patient with ourselves and with others. God is here with us now and encourages that space of patience and rest. God waits for us there. That is where we do our best work. Right here, right now, in this moment. We are called. We are beloved. We are called to be here, to live, to behold, and to inquire. Now is all that we have. This is what we have, and it is enough. Breathe. Let the church say amen.